which is the odd thing. Like it's a cheap squad pusher, but like even the Empire don't really like it as a squad pusher when it's cheaper. And like if you're going to 30 odd points for flight controllers, like you're missing a lot of survivable and a lot of firepower from not having hard sell. It's an odd one. Like part of me is like just throw PDX on it and stick it in a Kraken or Maher or a TF list. Because if you're doing the gunboat stuff, you know, once it gets in close with those dice, it can throw the extra, and then it's a cheap boost. I don't know. It like the cheap squad activations do seem like the really good thing out of it. And like you can do it with tickles, so it's pushing 3, and then you're up up to 29 points. Flight controllers, maybe, but yeah, like cheap squad pusher, extra activations. It's one of the few that's non-unique in this wave. So maybe that's how they justify a lack of squadrons. The other thing is the Separatist squadron names are indistinguishable anyway. So to be honest, though, I would have liked to have seen a Separatist hero like Dooku. Would have made sense as in a squadron, something like that. And it may be a case that giving them actual rogues to complement the insane stuff that their droids can do is hard to test and balance. Like I've seen Facebook spaces with people putting like everything from HIEs on these things, but I think keep them as cheap as you can. I think even flight controllers might be pushing it in terms of expense. The one thing I do want to check at some point is PDX. How much more survivable are they with PDX and an evade or and a splatter? Because that means you're better off trying to kill them at long range. Fighters have a real problem murdering them down. That could be a thing. Kraken is the other Admiral that I see them maybe being really useful with, because they can get in there fast, and they're cheap and throw away, and you can get the targeting in. The one thing is, would you prefer one hard sell of two of these things? That'd be the question I have.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that because Rob actually did a test of this the other day. We'll see that in about a week and a half. A bat rep he tried out. I liked he did TF droid with this with the HIEs, and I'm thinking that if I know HIEs are expensive, that makes this really expensive.
Yeah, we're looking at a 36-point flotilla,
Yeah.
which has 3 dice.
Yeah, and
I compare that to a hard sell.
right.
It doesn't match up great.
Of course, the one thing I suppose you could look at is that it has the scatter.
That is true, which separatists don't have access to. But just I look at the HIEs and I go, that is 36 points. So you're 11 points less than a hard sell. And a hard sell, to my mind, the fleet support slot is fantastic. And hard sells are kind of survivable. And it's putting out more damage. Like if the Gazanti gets wiped out at long range, which a Simoon, an Onager, a Liberty, hell, even a Muni puts it a slight danger of getting just wiped out at long range. Patriot's Fist kills this thing fairly fast.
Yes.
So you need to have a plan as to what you're doing with it. And that's why I think, I don't know, I'll be interesting to see the results of the heavy ion placement. Like, if I was building it, like, so you want 4 squadrons for them to command. So then it's a case of, it's probably a case of Falak and 3 balls. They don't have the offensive retrofits because they can't give them reserve hangar decks.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want them anymore, and they're already getting away with. You probably want maybe Patriot's Fist, and then have Kraken, or even with this, you can go the swivel mounted, the ordnance experts potentially, or and the APTs. So there you've got your fighter co-op, you've got your fighter teams, and you're targeting for Patriot's Fist.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe 2 LTT munis, 5 activations, some fighter cover targeting for it. Then you throw in most wanted.
And who's the commander again that you're picking?
Kraken.
Yeah, this is nasty. Although one of the things with Kraken, I almost wonder, would we want to try to fit some sort of ion upgrade, even a cheap one, where we could get those blue crits going off? Like even a cheap one.
Yeah, well, if we make Falak just a normal droid fighter, what do we got? We could do ion cannon batteries, or we could do NK7s. NK7s could be, MSI.
MSIs, yeah. The ion cannons are interesting because that way, if they don't have exhaustible cards, you can still be effective and be really annoying. By the way, for those that are watching, we actually have some people watching. Thank you, guys. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. Hopefully the audio is coming through clear now, and everything's going good.
So with something like this, I love volatile deposits on Kraken, because you've got great built in.
Absolutely.
And then asteroid tactics for getting back your scatters on your flotillas, and they can run right in. Most wanted might be the right choice. The other choice then, of course, is the other choice I like at the moment is I Am Storm. Again, it's about giving criticals, but I think Most Wanted is a better choice because you're adding dice to 5 ships. So you've got your fighter cover. So that's maybe what I'd try for. That's just a quick build.
No, and I think it's great. Those that are watching, let me know in the comments what you think about this one that James has put together. And I really like this because it's 5 activations. You got the 4 tri-fighters, which is excellent fighter cover, which the Gazantis are free to activate, so it leaves your Munificence and Reticence just to be con-firing or navving as needed. Or you can switch things up as you want.
And 5 activations is not too bad.
Yeah.
With the other thing you could do is like the munis could just be
Could you fit 3 hard cells for the cost of 2 munis?
Almost. And there you've got your 6 activations. Like, they've got nothing on them.
Nothing on them, though.
But you can just put Ion Storm then instead, because that's got a crit triggering.
Yeah. So they're still going to be useful no matter what with Kraken.
Yeah, and then its Patriot's Fist has 5 activations before it needs to go. So that might actually be better. Like, I love the munis and stuff like this, but what we can do is we can swap one of the battles, and then we can do munitions and parts resupply. Or we can drop this and we can put in a reserve hangar deck, which is probably no harm. Reserve hangar deck here. Oh no, we've already got, no. So 2 reserve hangar decks and then just a single comms net. You've got your Ion Storm, you've got your Astra attackers and your volatile deposits.
Right.
And you've got your targeting beacon then for your long range shots. So that actually might be more fun. And just so many activations. And that's the thing, like their main strength is they give you extra activations.
And it's just and it's overwhelming. It's like who do you go after? Because you're like, oh, maybe I'll just ignore these Gazantes and try to go after the Recusant. Well, those Gazantes are going to be beasting you the entire time and will whittle you down if you're not careful. But if you focus on them, then the Recusant's just hammering away freely. This is a scary list, I think.
It could be fun. I think we need a lot of messing around to get it quite right, but this would be a good start. So yeah, any questions on Separatists in the chat at the moment?
So Mariano, even though we talked about making them expensive, he likes, if he says putting flight controllers on those Gazantes, that means your Tri-Fighters are rolling 5 dice for a cheapish squad pusher.
The only thing that I'd say about that is that's 6 points. And it is like 2 of those are the cost of 1 Tri-Fighter.
Yeah. Basically, you'd have to drop 1 hard cell in this build, and then maybe you can kit out the remaining hard cells with a little bit more to make them a bit more beefy.
But if you're doing that, why are you just not buying more Tri-Fighters?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's just, or even, so like, I mean, there could be an argument for it, but I think then you're investing too much. Now, maybe if you're tickled and you're throwing 3 for the cost of 5 points, and that's 3 extra dice, but you don't have any way to re-roll. Like, blues, I'm not a fan of. Shockingly, I'm not a fan of blues as anti-fighter dice. I think you maybe do 1 and you put tickles on that to get the extra commands. But yeah, I think it definitely needs some testing. Any other thoughts on Separatists, or will we move on to the Galactic Republic?
For myself, I still like it. I think it's interesting, and I know one thing that I want to test when whenever I get around to trying Separatists out. I mean, I haven't played Separatists, gosh, in 8 months probably, but this has got me excited because I just think Ion Gunboat, throw HIEs on there, and if I'm running Kraken, don't worry about it, or run TF, and then have some like hard cell battle refits and just run a massive swarm fleet and just be completely annoying to people. Let the hard cells put raids on people. They have to deal with them. If they don't, they're in trouble. Meanwhile, these Gazantes are flying around draining shields. If they don't deal with that, it just too many targets for people to choose from. I have no idea how it will work in practice.
The only thing I'd say with HIEs is it doesn't really have, like, TF is not adding extra blue dice.
Right. Yeah. So you would need to make it even more expensive to put like weapon battery techs on there, and then it gives you a 50% chance to get that crit to go off.
Yeah.
Another suggestion I heard was the high capacity ion turbine, so you're actually throwing 4 dice out the side.
That could work, but again, that's what.
But that makes it expensive.
Yeah. It's less expensive than heavy ion.
Yeah, let's buy one.
But and of course there's the overload pulse messing you could do, but don't ever do overload pulse unless you've got a really good plan.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, like a lot of the ships that do the ion tricks have the offensive retrobits for decaps.
Correct.
These guys do not.
They need to get close.
They need to get close. At which point, one of their defense tokens is a lot less useful.
Exactly.
But I think in concert with Patriots Fist, Kraken, they could be good. Just be careful for a lot of things like Patriots Fist, who will eat them for breakfast.
I think a list like this, you definitely don't slow roll it. You want to play fast and keep your fleet high speed and get into your enemy quickly. That the way have. It's basically just too many targets for them to choose from. So, and it's one of those, if they choose one of your Kazantis, great. That's one turn you're not shooting at my Recusant. Or not shooting at this hard cell that's coming around your flank type of thing.
Definitely could be interesting. Okie doke. If we move on to Galactic Republic, then that's a bit trickier.
Yes. The only instance where I find a victory interesting, because I hate the victory for Imperial, so I'm actually having the one I own being painted up by my brother-in-law to Gar colors, so I'll actually use it.
Like this, the one thing is like it's more. The only thing it has, to my mind here, this is not a 75-point ship. This is an 83-point ship.
Yeah, you have to bring it. If you don't bring engine techs, then you could say you're automatically starting off wrong.
Because it doesn't have any kind of long range fixing, because it doesn't have a turbo laser slot. It's less survivable than a traditional victory, but it does have the in-baked salvo.
Yes.
Like the salvo, 2 red salvo is nice, but it's a case that's all of it. It's just more maneuverable than a clam. But this thing is nabbing. It's nabbing all the time, I think. Because the engine tech's maneuver is what's really getting it up there. So you got double click on the end plus the double click on the speed 3. And then it's a case of, I think, like external racks. And then what's it got? It's got blue. So you're looking then at APTs or soft concussion missiles, to my mind.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that can make this interesting, though, is instead of maybe external racks, I know it's more expensive, but the enhanced armament. So not enhanced armament, the side ones.
The rapid reload.
Rapid reload. I know it's expensive, but that's not. You're getting 2 black, 2 red out the side of your victory, so double arcing becomes really interesting.
This is the thing, and this is the thing with both rapid reload and expanded launchers. How many shots are you getting off again?
Yeah, you have to need to use it multiple times, and I know it's ultra rare, but only once. I actually put for our first local tournament we did here about a month back, I ran 2 Kuwats, both with expanded launchers. In my first game, I cooked them off 5 times. I was like, whoa, I actually got my points back. But that is so rare. It hardly ever happens.
So you got to use the expanded launchers 5 times, right?
Yeah.
So do you know what? But if we look at that, let's do the maths on it. So rather than 2 external racks, which cost 8 points, you spent 26 points.
Correct.
So you spent 18 points on 6 black dice.
Yes. It does not work. Yeah, it's definitely
And I
not.
don't know how you got it off 5 times.
Yeah.
Were you being assisted by your opponents? That is a good. But if we look at external racks versus rapid reloads, you need to fire out your side 3 times to make it back.
That is true. Yeah, expanded launchers are never going to be worth it, except unless you want to just go for pure. Just I like taking expensive stuff value, but
like I've run on a Radis MC-75 that gets dropped in front of a large ship and goes, I'm going to sit here till one of us dies. But I think this thing is gonna, like, I don't know that this thing, if it gets close enough to do that, to anything that it doesn't kill in the first go, is going to live long enough. Is the problem.
Yeah. I have Daniel Lim in chat here. He says that even though it could be gimmicky, he thinks 3 victories with engine techs and spa-tees with Tarkin as your commander could be interesting.
Yeah, that's the other the spats are the real MVPs.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like, you've got very little fighter cover. Well, we could add some torrents with our Anakin. Put in the wrong Anakin.
Yeah, we definitely want the Delta 7 Anakin. I love this guy.
So that's not too bad. I mean, you want blockade run as your red, just because there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
I think. Then asteroid tactics again for getting back those defense tokens, and I like a bit of infested fields here.
So one yellow mission that I really like, oops, sorry guys if that just spiked my audio, is I really like Rift Ambush, mainly because to set up like a surprise hit on somebody. Set up your dust clouds, and then either wait for someone to come across, or you set up to where you can align yourself where you want to be, and then jump across and hit somebody hard before they're ready.
Yeah, and volatile deposit. Actually, with the spats, volatile deposits might also be a good one here.
Yeah, I wish you could actually blow up asteroids, but essentially blowing up asteroids in people's faces.
Yeah, pretty much. Like that is one way to build it. I'm not sure how.
So I don't know how. So what? Real quick, I don't know on points wise. So Daniel's clarifying. I think these are like bare bones, because he says he also has a Venator with Intensify with Tarkin. So they're like bare bones and no squads, I'm guessing.
I do not like the no squads idea. I have to say, it's a case of these guys have one redirect.
Well, and I'm also, I mean, it's tough for me to run no squad lists. I love I know other people like running no squad lists, and they can be effective. Surprisingly, Buster has turned into a no squad list guy, but I like having at least a few. But I think for
running them without the engine techs as well.
No, so he says engine tech, spa T, and that's it on the 3 victories, and then a Ven 1 with Tarkin and Intensify firepower. I think we'd have to drop all the squads. Now, I mean that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you don't have any squad support, but you are.
Black.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to hit your opponent quick. But you could overwhelm them though. That's a lot of HP they have to chew through on you. Meanwhile, you are hammering them with triple spot.
But rogues will kill a victory in 2 turns.
Yes, I agree.
One, if there's any kind of ship support.
But could be fun though. The nice thing about these things, I'm interested to see all the experimentation people are going to do with these new ships and squadrons, and just trying out just the fun gimmicky things, you know.
Now, what you could do instead is
Mariano has a suggestion that with the potentially doing a Ven 1, not with triple victory, maybe double victory, and using take evasive action to help their maneuverability.
I think once you've got engine techs, you're okay. Because you want to be navigating each turn.
Right.
With Tarkin refreshing the spats. So I think to take evasive action isn't as necessary.
But it would be interesting though, because then you could stay at speed 2 and get the dial click at the 1, get take evasive at the 2, and then when you engine text, you'll get a potential double click as well. So you could potentially, I mean, I don't know how many times you'll need to hard turn. You can get a lot of really good hard turning going potentially with that. I love take evasive action. It's my favorite fleet command, so I'm kind of partial to that.
But isn't it? It's the last yaw.
Right. So it'll work on engine text because you're only going speed 1.
Yep.
And then you use the dial to get your speed 1 clicks. You're not having to go straight at the 2. And or at the 1 at speed 2, and then you get take evasive action for an extra click at the 2.
The other thing is, you can't actually put clone gunners on these things, which is the one thing you have to remember. I'm just wondering. Yeah, Adi Gala seems like a good upgrade on one of these.
Agreed.
Giving you that pseudo redirect.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because like victories in the Republic have no way to get Minister Tua, so you can't get that hamstring into defensive upgrade for it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I think if you spam 3, I think you're in an Onager shooting gathering.
Yeah.
Or a Liberty comes in the side and just goes, eat one turn. I think spamming them is probably a mistake.
I liked. I have not played around yet with the Gar fleet with victories yet, just because I don't have one to use yet. But I think it would be interesting to run 2 victories with the Venator, and with some minor squad support. But I have not played around with the points yet, so I'm not sure how the points would work out.
Yeah, so if we look at this, and we're still saying Tarkin, are we?
I mean, especially if we're going the spot route, you kind of want Tarkin, I think, right?
Yeah.
That way, using the Ven 1, you can cook off your intensified firepower.
I think the victories definitely want the ordnance experts, simply because they've got so much black dice natively.
Oh yeah, we want those. We want those. Absolutely, either APTs or ACMs.
And then it's a case of the Ven. Like there's just too much double duty on a Ven 1, giving it a fleet command with Tarkin and a spat. That's the problem. So I'm like tempted to keep this as a flagship without the spats.
Let it be the carrier to push the squads. Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe just put tranquility on it for even more survivability.
Yeah. And it can kind of keep itself alive.
Yeah.
But then again, what you could do instead is just have.
You could do an acclimator 2 if you're doing it that way, or an acclimator 1.
Yeah, and then a vote.
And then Navota B.
Yeah.
Give Anakin even more
I think
rerolls
you
that he
want the
doesn't
two.
need.
I think you want the 2 simply because you want thermal shields.
Exactly, I agree. Yep.
And you want the flight controllers in this case.
Really I mean, you're really letting Anakin just do his work, and they have to chew through 3 V-19s before they can even touch Anakin, as long as you're positioning him
LTT
right.
is no harm either.
Yeah.
And then what else do we want?
Well, I think with these leftover points, we put X-Racks on the victories, right?
Yeah. And we can throw X-Racks in here as well. Or is there any officer that we want for this guy?
We could even potentially do boosted comms, so you don't have to get your acclimator in too much danger. Oh wait, it can't take offensive, can it? That's right.
No, not this version, because I think we do want the thermal shields.
Absolutely, we want the thermal shield. Yeah. What's its squad level for an acclimator 2?
3.
3. So maybe clone nav officer, so you can get a free token twice.
Yep.
And that way the target token can go to something else.
I think that's your acclimator. Just have a quick talk about Anakin while we're here.
Yes.
So he's depth 2, counter 2, which is really good. And basically, while attacking a squadron during activation, at the end of the resolve damage step, you may choose 2 enemy squadrons to spawn the defender. If the defender was damaged, this chosen squadron suffer 1 damage. So you can choose the defender as well. Dodge and scatter is really nice.
I love that he's a scatter ace with dodge, and that's unique. No one else has that.
Yeah, and 4 hull.
Yeah.
Now it's a pity dodge is not great by itself, particularly against flak and stuff like this.
Well, I will say this: I've had my opinions changed. That I love my dodges on my Aether sprites, just running them bare bones. Granted, against black dice, they haven't worked out too well, but against enemy squads, like anti-squads coming in, just turning a blue dice into a crit or something has been very useful in keeping them alive.
Yep. But I think maybe something like this, blockade run, because we can go fast and nobody wants to be close to us. And then we can, spatty on the way out, rift ambush, and then volatile deposits, because volatile deposits work with all the dice.
Yes, absolutely.
So, works with the spats. Or you can go in with the assault concussions. That could be a fun fleet. So, got any other thoughts before we move on to Imperials?
Well, so we have a little bit of a lag in chat. Is that anybody in chat, now you guys seen some of these different iterations for the Republic? Anything you guys want us to talk about or ask us about our thoughts on Anakin and the victory? Unfortunately, I think there's like a 6-second lag before they actually hear what we say. Oh, and actually, let's do Republic next. Or not, Rebels next. We gotta save my favorite Imperials for last. Okay. Gotta save the imps for last.
So, here's one I threw together earlier as well. So this is a Frankenstein of a ship. It's an absolute crazy thing. Like 2 officer slots, which is wonderful. 2 gunnery team slots. It's like, can it just lend one of those to like something else?
Yeah.
Because it's like 2 rebel ships that I really love them. One of them is the Pelta. 2 offensive retrofits, so you can do double boarding teams, and 2 support slots, which basically one of which is engine techs.
Now, before we move on here, I do have a question from William Campbell from the Vic. How would you manage honor girds with the victory?
Engine techs.
Yeah.
It's moving it to speed 3.
Yeah.
That's what manages that, and you don't have it as your flagship. Maybe more deployments. But yeah, with speed 3, it should be able to just take one hit, depending, because I think generally they're going to give you first player with that kind of bid so that they get their objectives. You can't do the surprise attack thing because that Ben is going to be stuck at speed 0, but it's the engine text gives you a fighting chance.
Yes, and
it's a victory in a world of onagers. I'm like, to be honest, I think Republic are the ones who got the least useful of the 4 ships.
I agree, but the free engine text, I agree with you. As long as you have anything that can go speed 3, especially if you have multiples, that I don't want to say it's easy, but it really makes it much easier to take out onagers. Just rush them. And if you have multiple ships, split it. Have one go left, one go right. The onager has to pick one. And whichever way he turns, he's now exposed his flank to your other ship that's coming in.
Yeah. And like, this is the thing. At least the Vic can probably do the damage once it gets there.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it has to get there. Like, you can just tailor those. So we've got, you can just put all your objectives to have ion or dust fields. That's one way, but again, onagers are tricky.
And the nice thing with the Vic with Spot is that you're also extending your range, so you'll actually be able to hit sooner than, say, even an ISD rushing an onager.
Yep. But yeah, like, Imperial ships are not in a good place versus onagers. That's the problem. And this is an Imperial ship. I don't think Dar are in a good place versus onagers. I think their large ships nav charts are just terrible.
They're tough.
I think Garrett probably worse option.
Yeah, I agree with that as far as going against onagers. I will disagree on Imperials. I think ISDs are excellent anti-onager ships. Because an ISD will be in its face on turn 2, and then it'll be able to outgun and outmaneuver an onager every day of the week.
Have you come up against the onager? Well, the problem there is slonager and interdictors.
Yeah, and I actually fought against that onager double interdictor. This wasn't with an ISD. This was during the Relax tournament. It was a double Liberty with Maydeen. And I just started in the Gravwell, and with Maydeen, I was able to be in his flank by turn 3, and was able to table him.
Speed 4 ships, though. There is a large difference between speed 4 and speed 3.
That is true. That is true.
And Maydeen also flies a little bit better.
Yeah.
I do not want to be Jar-Jar-Rotting. I do not want to be shooting myself in the ass while staring at an onager.
No, but you know me. If I'm running an ISD ship, most likely it's going to have Thrawn on it, so I'll be navving with the ship, and then Thrawn dials probably, if I face an onager, either squatting or just repairing. But that's a very niche example, of course.
Like, the one thing you could do with the victories is more deployments. Like,
yes, multiple deployments.
Squads, so the victory sets up later, and just have something like a consular as your first drop. Have it, don't have it straight on the board, have it straight on the deployment line where it can zip away to either side. But yeah, like, this is the thing. I actually think the Republic Vic has a better chance than the Imperial Vic, because the Imperial Vic has had to invest in Harrow. But yeah, I just don't think Republic actually need those thermal shields to deal with onagers. That's the problem, or at least the big ships do.
Yep, thermal shields are great for taking away that initial firepower.
But I don't think they're in the worst situation versus onagers. But again, I haven't had table time in a while. I just haven't had general table time.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go to the Providence, and I'll just make a comment here, and for anyone in the chat might want to disagree with me. I think one of the big misconceptions people had when they saw this, especially everything that came in for the ship changes, is it said Providence carrier, and like, wait, a carrier with only 2 squad? Well, Karnak explained in his live stream that they had to name the ships to match the cardboard, so you knew what cardboard to use. But I don't see this as a carrier. This is the Rebel 1. You know, the Gazantes for Separatists aren't Gazantes, they're Sea Rocks. So I think ignore the carrier word. It's not as carrier in my mind with my test builds I've been making. This is like a heavy support / troop deployment ship, in my opinion.
Like here's a carrier build that I did earlier.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can make it a carrier though. You can do it.
The one thing is, and this is the main reason why you have the whole kind of, and I read her wrong, but it's just the movement speed that you get out of dragging 3 squadrons twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've seen a lot of people talking about B-wings with this thing.
Yeah, and that's definitely something you can do. Like it's just a very flexible ship. The one thing is the raw power. It lacks a bit. I think engine techs are essential. I like Garm for all the little support things it can do. Sato is no good with this. Radis, if you want to drop a salvo ship in there.
Yeah, let me see. Someone in my let me see if I can find, while you're pulling some stuff up there. Someone in my comments on one of my videos proposed a Radis build where this thing would be is the Radis drop ship, and you basically, you know, you drop 2 boarding teams on somebody, or 1 boarding team, and then you're now got this thing in its back line, and also drop B-wings with rapid launch bays, and
you're only dropping 2 B-wings.
Or 2 B-wings, yeah, because if you're using the boarding teams, yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like the rapid launch bays, because that is fairly expensive. But the Shiv, I think, has to be your first boarding team, and Chan is your other. No, and if you are doing a Radis drop, you can maybe do away with the engine techs. And then you have Rex, and then Agate.
Well, I can't find the comment.
Here's the Radis drop.
Well, so one thing I don't know about, I mean, Cham is great, but I'm more inclined with the make sure I want to get the right one here. It's not boarding engineers, the one where you get to exhaust your defense
boarding
tokens.
Troopers.
Boarding troopers. You know, you drop that in. Exhaust.
That is only 2 defense tokens. But you could definitely do that.
I mean, that is true, because it is half, right?
No, it's your squadron value.
Oh, wait, which is one that's the engineering value? Maybe I'm getting them confused.
Neither of them.
Oh, I thought one was engineering value. Never mind.
It's called boarding engineers, but it's a lie. Oh no, that's the one that flips up cards. That is right. Yeah, but you have to have done damage first.
That is true. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the thing is with Cham, if you hit somebody and they're running a fleet where they don't care what you turn their dial to, then he's not as useful.
He's not as useful, but they're never nabbing again.
That is true. Yeah. So, that is true.
If it's a big ship, they're never nabbing again.
Yeah.
Like Cham is fine. You could also Jan.
Yeah, Jan's interesting. I think Shiv is great though.
Because PDX, if nothing else, you're killing their damn PDX.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, like, Agate, I think is a fun one. The other admiral that you can have is Mon Matpat. She finally has a large ship, which has an evade.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Uh, Garm is fun. Kraken obviously no good. Dudana doesn't really do much. Agate makes it super tanky, but it is a lot of points for if they never shoot at that chip. And that's the danger then. I just never shoot at Providence. Is what I would do there.
Although that could be beneficial. That mean that if you think, even though it doesn't have a lot of dice mitigation options, you're still dealing with a double arc of 6 dice, then 5 dice that you're ignoring.
Not if you're running away from it. Like, I don't know. It's like the Providence bills I've seen come out of Separatists who have a better Providence, let's be clear.
Oh, yeah. This is not. I mean, the lore behind this ship is that the rebels found this in a junk heap and have refurbished it. So it's not a prime time Providence for sure.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Keeping it alive, I think you want people shooting at it. And you need it kind of soaking up. So I don't know about Agate. I think Akbar is interesting because it's not as many dice long range, but nothing's getting in front of that if you're conga lining. Nothing small is getting in front of that and having an easy time.
It's a lot more dangerous to get in front of that than an MC-80 with only.
And then you've got your gunnery teams.
Yeah.
And you can have Kaken and Shogun.
I'm interested. Would this be a case? I mean, Kaken and Shogun, always a great choice. But would you consider maybe just doing veteran gunners because of the high variance? Although I know veteran gunners, you have to roll everything after you spend your accuracies.
Like veteran gunners is fine. Here I think you want Ahsoka.
Of course, Kaken, you'll definitely be using obviously going for the reds. But yeah, I mean, I think Akbar on this is very interesting.
And then you want an assault frigate B. You want it with UCMs and gunnery teams. Then you want your Jaina's Light. And potentially then you want your torpedo frigate with your foresight and your standard loadout. And there you got yourself a list. I was thinking with Hera, you're doing something like this.
Yeah, I like that Biggs ball.
Now, you probably want Wedge to go away, and you want Jan instead, realistically.
Although, to be fair, who doesn't love Wedge?
He's grand, but it's just, she makes it more survivable. The other option then you could have is, instead of that, you could have Nora.
Yeah.
And realistically, like Luke, we just want him because he might actually be accurate under all this. Then
I would actually argue if you're not taking Dodana, Luke is almost a waste. Maybe just put another X-wing in there, or somebody else.
Well, if you don't want Luke, then you go Jan.
Yeah, I would agree. One thing that we discovered on our first test game, Rob and I, is that he learned when you're sending, if you're going to be offensive with your Biggs ball, you definitely want to send in Hera first. That way, everyone else that comes in will get the Adapt 1 benefit.
Yeah. And it's just her wording is like when she's activated, she has an aura. But that's fine. She's got lovely dice. She's got dodge 1, and she's a black bomber. You know.
That's actually something you pointed out. Pull her card up again. I didn't realize that. It does say when activated.
And she's activated herself.
And it's till the end of the round?
Yeah.
So I guess a counter to this is that if you jump early, well, even then, basically, when you activate, you always want to activate her first on your activation as a rebel player, just to make sure you're giving her ability to your escorts.
And her squadron dice are not bad.
No, not at all.
I threw in Yavaris with Ahsoka on it to basically just make sure the GARM tokens work out well. Okay, GARM is literally just an upgrade on the ship. And what you could do instead is, instead of GARM, you put Ramus, and you go with a different Admiral then.
I mean, if you've got a Nebula on GR75, hell, go with Mon Mothma, right?
Potentially, like Leia, even better.
Yeah, that's So that's because you have so many squads you're activating. Get that free quote unquote token when you do start squatting.
So Leia, Mon Mothma, something like that. So this is a different kind of fleet. But yeah, looking at Hera directly, like, I love the anti-squadron dice. There's a good mix in there. You know, stuff to get you where have I lost something? Stuff to get you your accuracies versus scatter aces. A black dice to kind of give you that kind of guaranteed hit that you want.
Yeah.
You know? And then the black bomber. Dodge again. Like, and you can just throw in YT 1300s. Them getting a depth on the counter is great fun. But the problem is they just don't have the offensive output of the X-Wings.
Right.
But I think this is a decent ball. Luke is possibly more fun.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love putting crits through shields? It's always I love it. And with Bomber Command, the odds are you will have a high probability you'll get that.
And the problem is PDEC.
Yeah, I know. Point defense ion cannons are the thing is in our area. I don't think I've seen it ever. No one runs it in our area, so I probably won't. It's only whenever we travel to other metas, you can say quote unquote, where I've actually ever seen that being used.
Note Ben's meta start running, particularly on those separatists. Right? Yeah. Anybody any questions or thoughts on Rebels before we move on to your main course?
Actually, I would like to, if you'll stop sharing for a second, I want to go and share my screen of a potential. This is more of a gimmicky Providence build for the Rebels. Let me. Not competitive, but I thought it would be interesting to try out. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Question is, I don't know now if... Hang on, guys. I don't think the stream can see my screen right now. Let me fix this.
There are warning symbols on your cards, I will say.
Oh, yeah, because I don't own half these.
Oh, you got the inventory on.
Yeah, so this one is, I'm thinking of potentially trying, and it's going to be waiting because I hate the looks, but I love the ship. But my brother-in-law is currently making 2 Mark 1 variants for me that I can place on the Mark II cardboards. But once that comes in, I want to try this. And so the Providence, this is with Cursa turning it into just a big, tough bully. while my Assault Frigate Mark IIs run up, loaded with B-Wings, and, hit the target, hopefully get internal, do some damage, and then the Providence then gets to do their boarding engineers to start flipping cards. It's like a one-shot gimmick, but all three of these ships have a lot of damage potential, are, can be tanky, and then you now have 4 B-Wings in your face.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the reactive gunneries and A's, to be honest. Like, I'd prefer to see B's and ECMs.
Yeah.
Because they can, it costs less,
right?
It's more survivable, and you can drop more B-Wings.
That is true. I guess the only reason I went with the A's was to get the most out of reactive gunnery. But you're right.
But the thing is, if you like, that would work if you were planning to stay at long range. You are in no way planning to stay at long range.
Definitely not. This is a. But actually, you could put local fire control on this thing then. But
do not put local fire control.
Should I do it just to make you stress out? Just kidding. Let's see, Lil. What can we get rid of?
I think you could still go XI7s on them.
Oh yeah, that's true. We'll do XIs.
And you don't need to go 6 B-Wings, so one of the B-Wings can be gold.
Actually, yeah, that's true. We can do Gold Squadron.
Oh.
You can tell that I play with Rebels a lot. Not. And just another Y-Wing.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of more of a gimmicky thing, and again, this is one of those where it's designed where I would not play this slow roll. I would definitely rush my opponent, and if they choose to shoot at the Providence, great. With Lando, I'll be able to soak one good hit, and that'll give time for the assault frigates to come in and drop their squads in somebody's face, and maybe I can cook off the boarding engineers and get lucky with pulling a structural again.
The problem I see with the Providence is it doesn't have engine tanks.
Oh, that's a good point. You know what? That is actually... I'm so used to not needing it as an Empire player that doesn't use victories. I mean, we don't have to have auxiliary shields teams. That's a bit much. And don't have to have Whalix. Yeah, having the speed is actually important. Yes. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that and show those watching just a potential preview in the next couple months once Zach gets my Mark 1s painted up for me.
What's your last objective?
Oh, sorry, Doom Station.
Doom Station is grand, yeah. Because it can travel along with Providence.
Yeah. And if someone does pick Hyperspace Assault, I say thank you and let's start the game.
I think probably they're going to force you into their objectives.
But, yeah, most likely, yeah. Just because I can't do sub 400. I know that's a failing of mine, but
like this is the thing. Bidding. Your bid is wonderful if it wins you initiative. If it doesn't, it's dead points. So it's a case of it's a game of chicken that you either go to win it or don't bother playing. Most of the time, at the moment, I think. Cool. So will I share for Empire?
Yes, let's go to Empire. My favorite. Oh, I'm so happy.
So,
and this goes with the new Anakin, but I love the new Anakin and the new Vader. And I'm sounding like a broken record for people that watch my channel, but they now are what Obi-Wan said they were, which is he was the greatest star pilot in the galaxy, and both those cards feel like it now.
Yeah. The Venator I'm still conflicted as to what to do. The native salvo on an Imperial ship that isn't an Onager is nice, and it can get 7 Fleet Star Destroyer, which is funny. But the lack of offensive retrofit means it can't do flak guns, which I think it misses. ECMs is grand on it.
Mm-hmm.
I like Gunnery Chief Arnillian is one I really want to test. Because you've potentially got 2 attacks and a salvo attack to just keep dropping this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually... It's been so long since I've even looked at her. You've reminded me that she exists. And that's good, because she's really good.
Mm-hmm. And LTT, I like. What to do with one of these slots is external racks, but they're just without a host of black dice to actually trigger a critical. Ordnance pods is what I kind of...
Yeah, that's what I've seen a lot of people, thinking of making this like a flak boat. I didn't do it this way when I made it for my test. I like to think of it as a cheaper bully than a Kuat, but...
it doesn't need the ordnance pods. The only thing is the dice just don't make it enough of a bully.
Right, yeah. But the interesting thing is that it's so... I mean, I love running huge squad balls, so it actually saves me just enough points if I wanted to go this route and make the Venator 2 my main big ship and have a bunch of medium and smaller ships in support. It allows even more points for me to fit one more squad in, or maybe one extra Gazanti. If I decide, hey, today I'm not going to run an ISD.
Yeah. There's a number of good officers, Montfrat is fine. Suddenly you have obstruction on this thing.
What? So what I did on my first one, which was was actually neat and actually helped me kill some things at long range, get a couple wounds off, was I put Nita on there and TRCs, and then you just drop the contain for the evade. And actually, Rob shot at me, and I was able to salvo back and TRC into a double and killed one of his CR90s.
Yeah, well, I like also Palpatine or Reva.
Yeah, Reva, refresh that salvo.
Or Palpatine, make them spend and then salvo back.
Yeah, yes.
So I've done a fleet build.
Let's see. Let me see what you got.
The fleet build video I did before was using both of these. Yeah, so I put Romedy on them. So it was just Vader and Merrick as your squad ball, a Raider Corvus for hiding Romedy, an Assault Casanti for Romedy tricks, and then just the Ven 2 with reactive gunneries to make it even more shooty back. Ordnance pots, external racks, LTTs, and then an interdictor to keep it alive. And
I like it. And basically run the interdictor out front or slightly ahead of it, so that maybe it'll absorb some damage potentially.
Well, the Venator should be out front.
Okay, gotcha.
But and then you've got 3. You should be going second and force them into your objectives.
Right. I love the reactive gunnery option. Basically, you get double salvo potential.
Yep. And with...
So one thing I would consider on this, maybe slightly adjusting just to really help the survivability of the Venator, make the Gazanti a regular one and put repair crews on it.
But the thing is, we can afford repair crews. We've got a 15-point.
Oh, I didn't look at your point value. Yeah, you got plenty of space to put repair crews on there. Yeah.
Yep. But these are all the things you can do. And I think these 2 boys paired together, Vader and Maher.
Oh my! I love it. I love it. Once we're done here, I'm going to show you again gimmicky. I'm not very. I don't. I build more narrative lists, but I love the squad potential now with Vader, and also my rediscovery of Major Rhymer. Oh my gosh, I played with Rhymer the past 2 games now, and I love being able to bomb people at close range. It's been amazing.
So mean. So mean. But basically, these 2 boys can just, their main job is kill whatever key pieces in the opposing squadron ball.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
and Vader is so deadly against ships. In our test game, 2 rounds in a row, I was able to, with his Adept and Bomber Command, roll into 2 hits and a crit both times on a ship.
It's like PDICs are becoming more and more essential if you don't have a proper squad ball.
Yeah.
And that's the danger. But yeah, like these 2 alone can just go hunt down what the main problem is in your opponent's squad ball, and they're not actually going to die that easily.
No, absolutely not. And it's like, which one do I shoot at? It's like, who do I shoot at? Which one do I pick to try to drop first?
Or they can just go in at the side of a squad ball and pick off the weak, and then the opponent is, do I go for the ships or do I go in for that? And like then you've got LTT on the Venator. So if they decide to go in on the Venator, you've got LTT and he's black.
Right.
So, but Vader is just fantastic. He's thematically, he's brilliant. He's bomber. He kills squadrons easy, Adept 2, and Rogue. So you don't even need to command. It's fantastic. So did you want to show me a build before we call it an evening?
Yes, basically it's mainly does more with the squads than anything because of let me manage on my screens here. So just because I will always be just the primary. I love playing with squads and lots of squads. All right, everybody should be able to see now. But just as a basic squad foundation, one thing I've rediscovered, I actually love Rhymer now. I really love Rhymer. And with 2 TIE bombers. And then the Super Friends. We've got Jendon, Merrick, and Vader, and then a couple of TIE defenders. And that's a whole bunch of points. And I know they're all expensive, but that's, I like some squads.
Zertic Storm in there.
It's like, who do I give up, though?
You give up a defender, Ben.
Well, I can only have 4 aces.
Yes.
So there is a version of this without say Merrick, and I put Zertic in, or I mean, let's be honest, I could take Major Rhymer out, put Zertic in easily enough, but I've loved the range extension that Rhymer's close range ability gives, even to defenders. It just makes their range gross to be able to go and attack ships.
Drop the defenders and add. Drop a defender and add Tempest Squadron.
Oh, Tempest. Actually, that's a good idea.
Tempest, and do you have enough points for Tempest and Black?
Oh, yeah. If I have to drop both defenders, but the thing is, it's fine because I have 2 amazing defenders anyway, and Merrick and Vader. Actually, I don't even think I need Black. I could do just a regular old advanced.
And that's keeping your guys alive. And actually, you have enough points.
Oh, shoot.
Black as well. So there.
Hey, look at that.
Vader and Merrick can't be engaged for a couple of rounds.
And Jendon's letting one of them double tap, depending on what I want for effectiveness.
Yeah.
And then Rhymer and his 2 bombers are just going around doing their fun.
And you've got 4 bombers.
Yeah.
Between Tempest, a TIE bomber, Vader, and Merrick. And you could just get rid of Black and a TIE bomber for a defender instead if you want. Like, that's also a possibility. But to be honest, I think
this is actually interesting.
Yeah,
I like this. Hey, just gonna shout out Social General Rob. You can expect to see this probably the next time we play together in about 2.5 weeks. Gonna test this squad ball out, and because it'll just be playing on my channel and not going to be, a very serious game, I want to bring Thrawn. And I know immediately it's like, oh my gosh, I only have one ship that can hold the board. It's fine for a fun game. But I like this whole thing bringing multiple escorts to keep people off of my... what do I want to take off? Forget suppressor. So I know this is not effective when you only have one ship that your enemy needs to kill, but I wanted to bring my standard Chimera with all of these squads and see what happens.
So I think you possibly need to drop your boosted comms for extended hangar bays, because I think you need more squad command with that.
Let's see.
You want one or two more.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I'm over by 1. So the guy...
So kill the repair crews.
Yeah, we'll boost him. Or not boost, extend. Expanded hangar bay.
And change the boosted comms to extended hangar bay as well.
Oh, well, actually, now I'm actually good. I've actually got 9 activations now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, it is odd to have 9 squads, but
it is odd. And before I actually debut this on my channel, I will probably make an adjustment so it's not 9 and it's 8 and it's even, just because I'm OCD like that. But but yeah, I would never even consider this as being realistic for a tournament because you only have one ship that can hold the board. But I was just wanting to try Thrawn with a whole bunch of squad support, and then just let the ISD-2 and this massive ball of death be basically the damage potential that's coming at people.
Yeah, so I think Vader is the more interesting part of what the Imperials get. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's that interesting.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well. I definitely think Vader is probably the MVP of this entire Rapid Reinforcements 1, in my opinion. So I think he is just so good. So good. And, there's a little part of me, even though I like having balanced stuff, and I don't want things to be broken, but there was part of me that was hoping that they would keep the old Vader rules, giving him scatter and crits count everywhere, but make him 35 points.
that was like giving a 5-hull squadron scatter. No.
Oh, by the way, Social General Rob is not happy that you showed me how to put 3 escorts into that squad ball. He is not looking forward to facing off against that. So.
At least I didn't tell you to replace Rymo with Dengar and make it even worse.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm holding off on that, but it'll happen eventually.
What is this guy? The other thing you could do is where is this? What is the guy's name? Yeah, you could put no, he's 7 points. I was about to say you could put Instructor Gorn on somebody, but I think that would just he's too expensive.
I do love trying to fit. I've never actually tested it out, but I've experimented with Dengar and Goran, with like a Sloan swarm of TIE interceptors and TIE fighters, and just have this massive ball of things that are going to be countering you to death if you try to come at them. But I've never actually tried to put it into practice yet. I mean, trying to keep those synergy balls together, because Goran, I think, is distance 2. And of course, Dengar has to be in the middle of everything, so it'd be really hard to make sure all of your synergies are working together. So.
Tis a bit of madness. Anyway, have we any last questions before we call it a day?
Yeah, I don't see any other questions in chat. Thank you, James, I know it's really late there. I think it's almost midnight for you. We're getting close. So thank you for being willing to stay up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll give it another maybe 10-15 seconds for the lag if anybody wants to ask questions of me or of James. And in the meantime, James, is there anything you want to say, like final thoughts on Rapid Reinforcements and the state of the game as it stands?
I think they seem to have been tested, which is great. It means they're testing new stuff again. I think the ships they played very safe with. So they didn't take up much design. The squadrons, however, are just excellent additions. And I think Sis kind of suffer from a lack of not getting it. But the extra activations could really, really do good stuff considering how maneuverable Sis are. But yeah, it's a good wave.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to see where we move forward. And Rob, I think you're referring to where someone was asking about how do Vix handle onagers, and we did address that. If that's the question you're asking, just engine techs and rush them. That's the main thing there. So
engine techs and dodge them as well.
Yeah.
Dodging. That is the best way to deal with on-engines.
Yep.
Whether they're that good at it, I don't know, but they're probably actually better than Venators and Acclimators. But Venators and Acclimators have, as we've said, you
can get thermal shields.
Shields.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you though that I like to see that they release something, and the fact that they called it Rapid Reinforcements 1, it's like maybe we might see it 2, maybe by Christmas.
And we're going to have they've announced 2 European World Qualifiers.
Oh, very good.
So there's going to be one at Games Expo in the UK and one in Germany.
Very nice, excellent.
I am not going to make either of them, but yeah, like we're back on. We're not getting new plastic anytime soon. Let's be clear.
I don't think so either. And that actually answers. Mariano just asked this. Do we think they're going to? Do we want this to be a physical release by AMG?
They're not going to do a physical release.
Yeah.
Which I would say it depends. It depends. They've the new organized play kit, so maybe they do something physical. But to be honest, I don't want more repainted plastic. If it is a physical release, I'd just give us the cardboard.
Yeah, I would actually wouldn't mind that. Maybe with the exception of maybe the Gazantes actually give like C-Rock models, but I mean Shapeways has them, so if you want to paint them yourself, but
yeah, C-Rocks make sense. The others are just repaints.
Yeah.
To be honest, if they're going to put out new plastics, I prefer that they're actual ships rather than repaints.
Right.
Because I'm happy to put a little crepe paper around my Providences and stick them in Republic. I am not painting Armada stuff. It is a line.
Yeah,
I so much.
I can't paint, and I'm more than happy to have my brother-in-law paint my Victory because I hate it. For Imperials.
I'm going to try these out on some Eldar. Try and get some. Let me knock off the background. I'd like to try and get painting quickly.
Oh, very nice. For what purpose? What'd you say it was for?
Eldar.
Oh, Eldar. Are you getting in? Have you been into 40K or are you just starting?
I'm just trying it out, but I've been trying to get stuff painted since Christmas, and because we had the wonderful news and the new arrivals, so it's a case of crimping all of that. But I think I have one start collecting box, an Autarch and some Fire Dragons left to put together, and then I have everything that I have put together, and then I just need to do a lot of painting.
Very nice.
So it's a case of
Well, I love 40K, and especially the lore. The game is a bit of a love-hate relationship because
they're trash. Let's be clear. The rules are utter trash.
No, it is. It's one of the reasons why I sometimes laugh when I hear people complaining about the balance in Armada. I was like, oh no, my Armada is very balanced because I'm comparing it to 40K.
40K's rule set is not good, and so this is the kind of stuff I've been painting up.
Oh, nice, very nice. Hey, that's excellently done. I love the army green on it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the speed painter allows me to achieve that quicker.
Yeah,
like half an hour a module's done. But it's kind of like they're cheap contrast paints, is what they are.
Very nice.
But so I'm going to try them out hopefully in the next week or two. But yeah, so it's a case of I do plan on playing 40K. It's just this is the thing. Loads of people are not playing Armada. So between this and the next, that's what I'm kind of hoping to fill the gap when I can't get Armada.
Well, I know you're a BattleTech guy just based on your logo, and I love that it is a Timberwolf, but you call it by the wrong name. But I won't get into that.
Sure, Clanner Stone.
Yep.
Whatever
Yep.
you have
Yep.
But what you call it? Like the clan novels are so boring. If you read any of the clan novels, it's like, he broke Cellbringen. Did he not break Cellbringen? He broke Cellbringen.
Oh man, you would fit in so well around here. I am surrounded by inner sphere surrats around here. I'm the only clanner representing. You would fit in so well around.
They're so much better. 30-25 stuff. It's like just the best. But anyway, great video of me wandering over and back to a miniature case. I'm gonna call it there.
Yes, I know. It's so late. I'm sorry for having you hang on. We could go down a rabbit hole on BattleTech for days.
Thank you so much for having me. And sure,
yes.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Yep.
Right. Good night, everyone.
Yep. Thank you for coming on so much.
Talk to you soon. Bye now.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and again, big shout out to James Maher, TheIrishMadcat. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you guys for watching. If anybody wants to chat just with me, I mean, it's almost midnight for him, so that's why he had to log off. But I'll hang on for another minute or so for anybody that wants to chat, questions or thoughts, etc. Any opinions, etc., based on your thoughts on the rapid reinforcements. And yeah, I'm personally very excited. I love it, and I can't wait to try out more things. It's just a matter of course, time. So timing, etc. Just readjusting my standard settings for my OBS. I know there's a way to make all these different changes smoother and such. I'm still experimenting with Livestream things. And yeah, basically the next, so, oh, and also I guess for those that are on, I can give you guys just an update. This week we'll still have the normal Armada on Tuesday, and then a 40k bat rep on Friday. And the following week we're just going to have a 40k bat rep, and potentially I might be able to squeeze in a 40k game, but I'm going to be out of town this weekend at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City with my family, with my wife and daughter, and so I won't have any time to film. So this week will be normal, but next week might be a little light on the bat reps, but should have some like General's Quarters content, etc., that I can release for you guys. But the next bat rep I play, we have not filmed it yet, but maybe in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I do want to run that Thrawn Chimera build with 2 Gazantes and 132 points of squads. So Mariano, if I can only do one, that's a good question. Vader or Merrick? I think I would pick Vader. I think because of all the other things he can do with the adept rerolls, having the evade for a little bit more survivability, and the potential for his reds to really cook off. But the thing is, I love Merrick too, because he can guarantee he's going to damage you, no matter what. Against a squad, if you roll poorly, he can still turn a black into a hit crit. And against a ship, if he does poorly, he can guarantee a hit. So, I love Merrick's guaranteed damage no matter what, but Vader has higher potential and more, I think maybe more versatility. But as you saw in my potential next fleet build that I'm going to be trying in about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, I'm going to use both. Why only choose one when you can choose both? And I know there's some lag, so I'll try not to have too much silence while I wait to see if anybody wants to answer questions. I see some of the viewers are dropping off, so we might be getting close to the end of the live stream. But I'll hang on just for a little bit longer if anybody else has any questions they want to ask, that sort of thing. Yep, Rob is definitely. I can tell, Rob, you are so looking forward to seeing that absolute murderous squad ball with the Chimera barreling down on you. Don't worry, I'll give you a heads up when you're going to be facing against that so you can tailor against it. I definitely don't want that to be a secret list. I want to make sure that Rob can actually build a list with potential counters to what that's coming in. Because if that goes up against a no squad list, I don't know. It'd be to see how fast can you kill the Chimera before my squads overwhelm the ships. It is interesting. I love that, being able to talk to other people because it allows me. I would never consider dropping the 2 defenders because I love them so much to be able to fit in then 3 escorts to help keep Vader and Merrick alive even longer. you hear it, William or Rob? William's telling you need to bring a bunch of victories for the Republic. And yeah, Rob does need to do that. Williams called you out, Rob. We need to get Rob to do a victory list so that he can test that out and see if he can make that effective. And for those that are still watching, I know we're getting low, but just if you're still watching, and then if you watch this later, if you want to submit a list to be featured on the channel, just a reminder, go to maildownsizeit@gmail.com or sgr99 at gmail.com to submit a list to myself or Social Journal Rob, and we will put it in the queue and be able to feature that on the channel. So, and I think we're getting near the end. So, once again, thank everybody for watching. Another big shout out and thanks to James, the Irish Madcat, for taking the time. And really looking forward to be able to play in person with you guys and the Lone Star Open, those ones in Dallas at the end of July, and for more content on the channel. So, thank you guys for watching. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So until next time.